Hello everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha and today I'm going to be doing my second quarterly book haul of the year. I decided at the beginning of this year, instead of doing monthly book hauls, that I was just going to do them quarterly, and I'm a little bit late on doing this one. So this is the book haul from April, May, and June. It's August, so I've already hauled books for July, but those will be in a future video. So these are just going to be, like I said, from April, May, and June. When I got all of these books together, took them off my shelves, put them in stacks, I was like, we have a problem. I buy too many books still. I did better on some months than others, but then I had months where I got to see some friends and went book shopping, and I just did a little bit of damage. So hopefully in the latter half of the year, I will be buying less books because it can get overwhelming to have so many books on my physical TBR because I feel like I'm never going to get to them all. So without further ado, we're going to go through these. I can't remember how many books are going to be featured in this video, so I'll just pop that up on the screen here so you know how many books we're going to be going through. These are in no particular order, and I'm going to breeze through these as quickly as possible, so let's just go ahead and get started. The first book I have is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I have already read this one. This was a book that I picked up on a whim because I saw it in Walmart, and I really liked this edition of it with the sprayed edges. And then I also liked the under the dust jacket look. So I did not know if I was going to like this or not. I had never read a book by Geneva Rose before. This is a thriller, and I'm not going to really go into my thoughts on it, but basically it's just a thriller about these siblings whose mom passes away, and they end up going back home and find this VHS tape that has a family secret on it, and they're trying to unravel some clues around the secret and this potential murder. Next up, I have The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. Now, did I just unhaul this book? Yes, I did. Did I just rehaul this book? Or am I rehauling this book? Yes, I am. Because I cannot make up my mind on books sometimes, you guys. And I mean, there's got to be some of y'all that relate, right? I read Stuart Turton's first book, The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, when I was first beginning my Bookstagram/booktube journey, and I really loved that book. Then I bought this book, and I was a little bit hesitant to read it because of some of the themes that were potentially in it. I thought it was going to go a little bit darker and more demonic than I wanted it to go, but I've since been told by a trusted Christian friend that this is not going to go where I think it's going to go, and so I can be pretty safe going in. Not to say that it doesn't have like dark moments, but I think it's something I can handle and not anything that is going to like combat my faith, if that makes sense. So I rehauled the book because I recently read The Last Murder at the End of the World by this author, and I absolutely loved it because I love Stuart Turton's writing. He, to me, is like a modern day Agatha Christie. He writes these really intricate murder mysteries, but he does it in different genres. So the first book of his was like kind of a classic murder mystery with a twist. This book is like a haunted cruise ship with a murder mystery, and his most recent book was a sci-fi fantasy, mostly sci-fi, murder mystery. And then he says he's going to write a contemporary thriller, which I'm really intrigued by because I feel like his writing is more detailed and slow. So I'm curious to see how he's going to write a thriller. But anyways, like I said, Haunted Cruise Ship is this one, so I rehauled it because I need to read all of his books. Then I got Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. This has been a really controversial book for me. I have not decided if I wanted to read it yet or not, so I've been on a journey with Sally Hepworth. She is one of my favorite authors. I love so many of her books. I'm pretty sure I've never given one of her books less than 4 stars, but this book had some content in it that I was really unsure about, and I'm still honestly unsure about. But I had McKay's store credit, and I was like, if I get this book with store credit and I trade it back in, like I'll get store credit back. So I was like, I just need to buy the book and then see, because I have this thing about me where, especially with my favorite authors, I feel like I need to read all of their books. So I do want to try this one, and I did a little bit of research to try to see if maybe I would be okay with this. And I don't know if I'm going to be okay with some of the content in it, but I'm just going to graze over that and just see, because like I said, I have this desire to read all of my favorite authors' favorite books. So if it's a miss for me, I get to return it to the store, but I really need to try this one, so I had to get it. Then I have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This was a completely random buy. I was not planning on reading this book. It is pitched as being similar to The Hunger Games, but like a romantasy, and I don't really know a lot about it, if I'm being honest. I haven't haven't really read much of the synopsis, so I can't really tell you. But this is everywhere on the internet, so I'm pretty sure that if you don't know, you can find it somewhere. Because I'm not going to tell you the synopsis today. I'm going to go into this book blind, but my friend Jordan really, really loves this book, and I picked it up for her, and hopefully I'll like it. I'm a little bit hesitant because I know the first few sentences are like a little bit gory in this book, honestly. Like they're bloody, maybe not gory, but like they're bloody. And I don't know. But I have it, so I can try it. Also, since when am I picking up books that I'm like, I don't know about? Because I was doing so good earlier this year. I was like, I will not buy a book unless I know I'm going to read it. And now what am I doing? I don't know. Who knows? Next book is Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I got this for obvious reasons. I've read all of Riley Sager's books except for one. I have already read this one. I'm not going to spoil my thoughts on it yet because I recently read it, and that will be in a recent wrap-up coming soon, probably after this video. So I got this one. I was a little hesitant to get this one as well because this is his first male main character. It's a little bit different of a story. I heard it is more mystery driven versus thriller driven, but I love a good mystery. So I thought I'm going to give this one a shot. So again, I feel like most people know what this is about. Riley Sager is a popular author, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Just know that it is about a young boy who is sleeping out in his backyard in a tent with his best friend, next door neighbor, and he wakes up one morning to a slash in the tent. His best friend is gone and they don't know what happened to him. So that is the setup for the story. It is like a suburban thriller. So again, not sharing my thoughts yet. That will come soon. But I had to get the newest Riley Sager. Next up, I have The Night in Question by Susan Fletcher. Lauren from Lauren Jean is the reason why I picked this book up. I'm pretty sure she doesn't even own it, but she looked at it in a bookstore in a vlog that she posted, and I could not stop thinking about it, so I had to get it. It is a lyrical and emotionally engaging novel infused with mystery and wisdom about love, friendship, and the power of forgiveness. I think this is a literary mystery following 87-year-old, one-legged, and cheerful Flory Butterfield. I think she lives in this adult residence area, like a, what is it called? Like a assisted living facility maybe. And she starts questioning this accident that happens and thinks maybe it's a murder and tries to solve it. It sounds really good. So I haven't read it yet, but it is like high up on my TBR. This next book was influenced by Caitlin from Pride and Paperback, and that is Anna O by Matthew Blake. This is a psychological thriller that has to do with sleep and what this one woman may or may not have done in her sleep. That's all I know about it, but Caitlin said that if you like The Silent Patient, there's a good chance you might like this. This is more of like a character study, slow burn thriller, so I'm really excited to check this one out. Then I have Land of Silence by Tessa Aars. I have already read this book. This is a biblical fiction book, and I really love Tessa Aars, so I am just itching to get to more of her books. This one follows the story of the woman with the issue of blood from the Bible, and again, not going to share my thoughts on the books. I don't know. Have I wrapped this one up, though? If I wrap this up, I've wrapped this up. I can share my thoughts. I thought this was really good. It's not my favorite of Tessa Aars, but it's 4 stars, and I love how she weaves a biblical story. Like, it is definitely, obviously we don't have a lot of scripture on the woman with the issue of blood, so she kind of like pulls from what we know, and then she creates a story based on her biblical knowledge and biblical history. So I just, honestly, the men that she writes are really good. They're great biblical men. So am I here for that? Or that, you know why I love them? Because each one of the men are such a great depiction of how Jesus loves us. And that's how we should be loved, right? So definitely pick up Tessa Aars if you're looking for a good biblical fiction author. Next up, I have Bookshop by the Sea by Denise Hunter. This is about Sophie Lawson, and she is at her sister's wedding day, but she ends up seeing the best man who was like her childhood boyfriend maybe. And I think maybe they were engaged to be married and something happened and they didn't get married, and now it's like a second chance romance situation. So it's a good summary book cover, and it's a Christian fiction romance, so that's why I got it. Then I have The Hiding Place by Corrie ten Boom. I got this to read with Krista from Books and Jams. She does a Christian buddy read every couple of months, and so this was one of hers. I think it was for May. I'd never read this book, but obviously so many people love it, and this is a really great story of Corrie ten Boom and what she did to help rescue Jews during World War II. Her and her family are just exemplary Christians and great, like, Christian heroes of the faith, I guess you would call them. And just hearing their story and what they went through and how their faith was so strong through the things that they went through during this war was just so inspiring and encouraging, and definitely tested my own faith. So This was a great read. Then we have none other than Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I think this is so funny. Like, you guys know that I typically gravitate towards clean fiction, clean romances and rom-coms, but there's something about Abby Jimenez that I just cannot get enough of. I don't love that she cusses in her books, and I don't love that there's going to be at least one spicy scene. But I will say, of the books of hers that I've read, which I've only read part of Your World, but this is definitely, and other people have said the same, this is her cleanest language-wise and spice-wise. Does that mean there's none? No, there is still some, but I feel like this book was really tolerable for me, and I didn't have a lot of issues with it, and I obviously really loved it. I tabbed it up, and this is my favorite of her books so far. I feel like you probably know what this story's about, so I won't go into too much detail, but this is probably one of my favorite romances that I've read this year. Then I have Not a Tame Lion, The Life, Teachings, and Legacy of C.S. Lewis by Terry Glaspie. I got this book from Moody Publishers. I'm actually a partner with them, so I get a book in exchange for an honest review every month. However, I have not gotten a book since I got this one because I haven't read this one yet, and I haven't submitted my review. But I am very intrigued by C.S. Lewis and his character, and I do know quite a bit of his history just through some other books that I've read and some of his works that I've read. But I wanted this book because I heard great things about how Terry Glaspie tells his story, so I wanted to get this one and check it out. Another company that I am partnered with is Crossway Books, and the most recent book that I've gotten from them is When Words Matter Most, Speaking Truth with Grace to Those You Love by Cheryl Marshall and Caroline Neuhauser. I did start this book, but I didn't finish it, and I thought I would just pick it up later. So again, I have not completely finished this or left my review or gotten a new book from them, but this was my most recent, and I absolutely love this cover. It's just very aesthetically pleasing, and I really wanted a book that told me about, like, I feel like sometimes it is so hard for us in the world today to, like, speak truth with love and to be gracious with the people that you're around. And, like, I want to learn how to love like Jesus more, because I know as a fallen human, I struggle with sin, and I struggle with bitterness, and I struggle with, like, judgment sometimes, like, just being completely transparent, and I don't want to be that way. And so I thought this would be a great book for me when I'm having conversations with people, just to be able to speak truth with grace to those that I love. I also have another Abby Jimenez book. It is Yours Truly. I know I probably won't love this one as much as I've enjoyed Part of Your World and Just for the Summer, and I probably should have read this before I read Just for the Summer, but I had never anticipated reading this one. I honestly didn't know if I was going to read her newest, so I never got this book. But since I love Just for the Summer and both of her books have been 5 stars for me, I felt like I needed to go back to the middle book and read this one. I don't anticipate reading any of her other series, but I am going to try this one and just see. Most people say this is similar, like it has Grey's Anatomy's vibes, which I'm not like a medical person. I don't really care about like medical shows, and I never wanted to be a doctor. Like, I just can't deal with stuff like that. So I don't know, but I know that this is just their jobs. It's not necessarily going to be something I don't think at the forefront of the book. So hopefully I'll get through it and enjoy it. I know it's, again, going to have some spice and some things I don't typically like, but I would like to give Abby another try. Next up, I have The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I have seen this one specifically on Meg from Meg with Books channel. I don't watch her videos all the time, but I do really like her mystery recommendations. And this one, it says, 1 murder, 15 suspects, can you uncover the truth? So in this, I think it's a little bit of multimedia. So you have some emails in the book, and then you also have, I think, text messages. And you're basically given everything you need to solve this murder. So I wanted to give this one a try. I think Caitlin from Pride and Paperback has also read this one. And if I'm not mistaken, she said the Twyford Code was better, or I may be thinking about Meg. I don't know if both of them have read the Twyford Code or not, but that's the next book in this series. And I've heard that one is better, but I want to try The Appeal first. Another mystery novel that I have recently hauled is The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentile. This book has been on and off of my TBR. I couldn't decide if I wanted to read it because I heard mixed reviews, but because I know that I like slow burn mysteries and just like straight mystery novels, I'm more inclined to pick this one up now. It is about these people who were in this reading room at the Boston Public Library, and somebody is murdered, and all of these people in this reading room are trying to figure out like if any of them did it or who done it. They're trying to solve this murder. So I'm interested in this one, and she also has a newer book that just recently came out. So if I like this one, I can pick that one up. I spoke of Stuart Turton earlier, and here is his newest book that I mentioned. It is The Last Murder at the End of the World, which I recently read and gave 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed the story. It is sci-fi and a little bit out of my comfort zone and out of my element. I don't always love sci-fi, but there's just something, like I said earlier, about Stuart Turton's writing and how he just gives you all the clues to solve a mystery if you want to. I think it definitely takes like not a smart person to read his books, but like you're gonna want to not just, I don't want to say not read for enjoyment. Like, I enjoy trying to solve a mystery, but if you're somebody who just wants a fast-paced thriller and you don't want to try to solve things, his books may not be for you. But if you enjoy the thrill of the hunt, if you enjoy trying to figure out who done it, then his books are for you, and you should definitely check him out. Another book that I was recently sent is Dwell Differently, Overcome Negative Thinking with the Simple Practice of Memorizing God's Truth by Natalie Abbott and Vera Schmitz. This was sent to me by Bethany House, and I think it's Icon Media that reached out to me. So I'm really excited to check these people out. I don't know a ton about either one of them. I think they're kind of newer authors. They are the co-founders of Dwell Differently, which is a vibrant online community committed to memorizing God's Word together every month. So I can always take more books like encouraging me to memorize scripture or get into my word. So that has been a really big thing in the past year of my life, is just trying to do that more often. And I think this is going to be a really great book. So I'm very thankful to have been sent this, and I can't wait to get to it soon. We're going through some books that I was sent recently, so we're just going to do that really quickly. But this next one is a study by Hope A. Blanton and Christine B. Gordon. So Christine actually sent me this. It is a Colossians Bible study. It is an At His Feet Bible study. I have not gone through it yet, but it feels like a very simplistic study. And it looks like there are 9 studies in here, so I could probably get through this pretty quickly. Colossians is a short book in the Bible. So it says, feeling bored with your Christian walk, looking for a fuller spiritual experience. Believe it or not, what you need is more of Christ himself. This little book of Colossians is packed full of big truths that the Spirit can use to wake up a dull heart. Listen to Paul as he rehearses the beauty, power, and supremacy of Christ. Let the Spirit call you to a walk worthy of the beautiful Jesus, for whom and by whom all things were made. So I need to get to this soon, because I could use a good Bible study, especially a short one. Starting with a shorter one honestly motivates me to do even more. Another book that I was recently sent is Covenant by Nelson N. Carlson. This author reached out to me, and when she told me about her book, and I'd already seen, I think I'd seen like the little trailer for her book, like the, sometimes people do book trailers like they do movie trailers, and it looked so interesting to me, so I had to pick this one up. I do want to tell you what this is about by reading the synopsis on the back, just so you get a little bit better of an idea. I'm itching to pick this one up. So this may end up on my August TBR, even though it wasn't originally in my August TBR. By the way, if you missed it, I do a fun new TBR game with the treasure chest that you see around me on the bookshelves. So definitely check that out. I'll link it up in the cards and down in the description. But this did not get picked, but I think I might pick it up anyways. Let me tell you what it's about. This is a Christian, I think biblical fiction or something similar. I know it's Christian fiction, but it says Lucifer, the once favored archangel, is haunted by a growing discontent. The allure of a grander destiny calls to him from beyond the boundaries of the heavenly realm. He plots amidst the ever-changing landscape of earth, determined to shape the fate of these newcomers who have invaded his domain, mankind. While mankind multiplies across the earth, Enoch, a scribe entrusted with divine knowledge, must grapple with an ever-looming darkness that engulfs their world. With every heartbeat, the world teeters on the brink of chaos, and amidst the tumult, a question lingers. Can humanity, severed from the divine, discover the path to redemption? I have a couple other Christian fiction books that I'll just go through real quick. The first one I got from my local thrift store, and I was really excited to find it because I had seen this author around, but I wasn't sure if I would just randomly pick her up or not. But because this book was cheap, I got it. So now I can try Connellan Cassette. I really don't know how to say her name, so I'm so sorry. But this is Counted with the Stars, which is Out from Egypt, book 1. This is a short synopsis, so let's just read this one too, because I don't really remember what this is about. Sold into slavery by her father and forsaken by the man she was supposed to marry, young Egyptian Kaya must serve a mistress who takes pleasure in her humiliation. When terrifying plagues strike Egypt, Kaya is in the middle of it all. Choosing to flee with the Hebrews, Kaya finds herself reliant on a strange god and drawn to a man who despises her people. With everything she's ever known swept away and now facing the trials of the desert, will she turn back toward Egypt or surrender her life and her future to Yahweh? So these people, I don't think these specific characters are in the Bible, but this is biblical fiction in regard to this being based on biblical things, like what we know from the Bible, what we know from that time period, so a little bit more like historical, and taking that to make a Christian fiction book. So I'm interested in trying out more biblical fiction, so hopefully Connellan Cassette will be a good author for me. Then on one vacation that I went on, I think this is when I went to the beach, I picked up The Girl Behind the Red Rope by Ted Decker and Rochelle Decker. Rochelle, I believe, is Ted's daughter. I have read one Ted Dekker book before. It was 3, and I did really enjoy it. I love the psychologicalness of it. So I saw this one, and it was giving The Village vibes. So if you've ever seen the movie The Village, just think that when you think of this book. 10 years ago, Grace saw something that would forever change the course of history. There is like this scourge or scourge. Why do I not know how to say that word? Scourge? Scourge. Scourge. Y'all know how to pronounce that probably. I don't in this moment. But that was unleashed on the world. And in the hills of Tennessee, there's this religious community, and the only thing keeping them safe is abiding by these rules and staying behind this red rope. So again, The Village vibes. And it's set in Tennessee, which is where I'm from. So I had to pick this one up. I also have The Summer of Yes by Courtney Walsh. This is such a special book to me, you all. I will not gush about this right now because I am going to gush about it in my July wrap-up. But this book holds a very special place in my heart. I scrapbooked in this book because I did buddy read this with some friends. And I have thoughts on it, so definitely check out my wrap-up because you need to know. But this is a book about Georgina and Kelsey. Both of these women are very career driven. They have given most of their lives to their career. They're very much workaholics, and they have said no to a lot of things in life, a lot of little joys in life and a lot of big joys in life. So when Kelsey finds herself in the hospital and ends up meeting Georgina, who is an older, like, what do you call her? Like a cosmetics mogul. What am I saying? Cosmetics mogul is the word I'm looking for. She ends up challenging Georgina to take a trip and say yes and do things that will make her happy and not just do things for her career or for her job, and like try to live life with no regrets, you know? So it says, sometimes you're so busy writing other people's stories that you lose the plot of your own. That is another great point to the story. So lots of good things to say about this. Try not to gush about it now, but I think everybody needs to read this book. It's definitely one I could recommend to all people. And I know that Courtney Walsh is a Christian, but this is published. It is published through Thomas Nelson, but now they publish a little bit more just like inspirational books, not necessarily like Christian fiction. So this is not a strictly Christian fiction book, but it is more of a contemporary women's fiction, a little bit literary, and it is so well done. But you can see Courtney's faith and God weave throughout the story. You can see Jesus' love weave throughout the story, and it's so good. So pick it up. Another recent read was The Secret Book and Scone Society by Ellery Adams. Again, I tabbed this one not as much, but I did really enjoy this one. Don't let the tabs deter you. I will talk about this again in my recent wrap-up, but this is a story that takes place in Miracle Springs, and Miracle Springs is this place where people tend to go to try to find healing. This follows our main character named Nora, and she owns this little bookshop in the area, and she ends up coming by these women in this community, and they all kind of form this Secret Book and Scone Society. It is a cozy mystery or cozy murder mystery. I will say it's light on the cozy because there are some deeper themes in this book, and I feel like it's more centered around the story of the women in the book and their trauma and their brokenness and how they are healing through all of that. So just know that when you go into this, it might not be your typical cozy mystery, but it is well worth the read. Next up, I have Becoming Elizabeth Elliot by Ellen Vaughn. This was Revive Christian Book Club's pick for July. That is the Christian book club that I host bi-monthly, and this is our nonfiction pick for the month. I had everyone vote on like 6 to 8 books because I couldn't choose, and I was so surprised at this one because this is a biography of Elizabeth Elliot's life. If you don't know anything about Elizabeth Elliot or her husband Jim, they are most well known for being Christian heroes of the faith. They are missionaries, and I think her most well-known story would be that her husband Jim and a group of buddies were out being missionaries in Ecuador, and they were sharing Jesus with a tribe that was, I think they're called headhunters. They are very secluded. They do not like outsiders coming into their area. They do not communicate with people outside of their tribe. They were witnessing to these people, and they ended up being massacred. And instead of Elizabeth just having this vengeance for these people, she ends up going back, sharing Jesus with them, and because of the forgiveness that she had for these people who murdered her husband, and because of the love of Jesus, she was able to witness to them, and the tribe accepted Jesus. So I feel like that is such an inspiring story. But this is starting from the beginning of Elizabeth's life and going through to after the massacre happened, and this is just a biography, like I said. So if that sounds interesting to you, I think this is a good Christian biography to pick up, but just know that it does take on a little bit more of a solemn tone. Then I picked up The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I've been back and forth on whether or not I wanted to read this, but because I've been enjoying so many mystery novels, and because this is Lauren Jean's favorite mystery, or one of her favorite mysteries, I knew I had to pick this one up. I feel like most people know about this book. It's about these, what do you call them, septuagenarians, these people that meet up on Thursday and they try to solve murders, I think. But I think one day they actually, like, a crime happens around them, so they're having to solve one in front of them. So I am excited to pick this one up. I really hope that I love Richard Osman. We're getting there. I only have a couple more stacks left. So this next book was also sent to me by the publisher. So thank you so much to St. Martin's for sending me this book. I'm pumped. This is The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brommer. This is my friend Gwen, one of her favorite books of all time. It's not her favorite book of all time, but it's one of her favorite books, and I knew I needed to read this. This is a book about a death doula who watched her kindergarten teacher drop dead, and that obviously had a very big impact on her life. I am very intrigued by this one. I just have a feeling that I'm really gonna like it, so I'm excited to pick it up. Then I have another Christian fiction. This is The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Brunswald. This was a gift, and I know so many of these that I've already mentioned and that I will mention are also gifts from friends. So if I'm not mentioning you or not mentioning that in this video, just know I'm trying to make it breeze by. But I love you. You're amazing. And I love, like, my love language also is, you know, books, because what booktubers love language is not books. Let's be honest. Anyways, this is The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp. And I've been really intrigued by this one. It is about this older lady, I believe. She is dying, and it just follows her life. There is this reporter or someone that writes for a newspaper that ends up telling Mrs. Kipp's story, and I feel like it's gonna, like, break my heart, but in the best way. So this is more of just like a general fiction book, but I'm really excited. It says all the wild ways to die could never compare to how she really lived. Okay, I need to read this soon. A couple more Christian, these next three are like Christian biblical fiction. So the first one is Up From Dust by Heather Kaufman. This is Martha's story from the Bible. So if you know anything about Mary and Martha, this is going to follow Martha. That's all I want to say about this. But I do want to tell you that if you own this book or you're interested in reading this book, that maybe keep it and save it for September. That's all I'm going to say. Then I have another Tessa Aars book. This is Pearl in the Sand. This is following a Canaanite Zona who made her living by enticing men, but now she is going to be the wife of a leader of Israel. Do you know who I'm talking about? This is Rahab's story. So if you know Rahab from the Bible, this is her story. I'm very eager to read this one. And I actually have another Tessa Aars book, so I'll just go ahead and pivot to that one. This one is Daughter of Rome, and this one I don't think follows. No, it does. Okay, it follow. I was like, this one is not one of the biblical fiction that follows a specific person. It's more just like the vibes. But this does follow people from the Bible. This follows Priscilla and Aquila, which they are from Acts, if you've read Acts before. So this is following them. It says, a woman with a devastating secret, a man bent on proving his worth, a chance encounter that catapults them into the heart of history. I believe this is the last Christian book in my stack. So this one is Upon Waking by Jackie Hill Perry, a 60-day devotional. I did start this, but y'all, I am not very consistent with things, especially not devotional. So I only made it to day 9, but I was enjoying it. I really like Jackie Hill Perry and her husband Preston's podcast. So if you haven't checked that out, you definitely should, because that is why I was so interested to do her devotional. It is a little different than other devotionals I've read, but it still kind of also is the same. So she tries to pivot and give you wisdom to go take back to your Bible, take back to God, and just draw from that, because she is a firm believer that it is not her who gives the wisdom, but the Lord that gives the wisdom. And she just wants to give you a nugget to take to get the meat with the Lord. So I love that about her. Okay, next I have Foe by Ian Reid. I am really itching to read another Ian Reid novel. I read, what was the first book that I read by him? Oh man, it's the snowy cover. I'm thinking of Ending Things. That was such a random read for me, and it was really good. I read it in one sitting in one day, and it was wild. I know it's got mixed reviews, but it was a 5-star read for me. And this book, Foe, is actually the Libernauts book club pick for September, and I'm going to be co-hosting with Elise for that. So we are going to be reading Foe. This is a sci-fi book. Again, I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but this says it is a haunting philosophical puzzle of a novel set in the near future. Junior and Henrietta live a comfortable, isolated life on their farm, far from the city lights, but in close quarters with each other. One day, a stranger from the city arrives with alarming news. Junior has been randomly selected to travel far away from the farm. Very far away. The most unusual part? Arrangements have already been made so that when he leaves, Henrietta won't have a chance to miss him because she won't be left alone. Not even for a moment. Henrietta will have company. Familiar company. Told in Reed's sharp and evocative style, Foe examines the nature of domestic relationships, self-determination, and what it means to be or not to be a person. An eerily entrancing page-turner, it churns with unease and suspense from the first words to its shocking finale. I am ready to read this. Next up, I have The Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant. I'm hoping to do a buddy read with some friends this winter with this book because I've heard nothing but good things about this book. I've heard so many people rave about it. Bethany from Bethany's Bookshelf, Krista from Books and Jams. There are so many people that love this book, so I need to read it. I think it is a survival story following a man and his daughter. I really don't know much more about it than that, but I've heard that the author is a Christian and she weaves some faith elements into her story, especially towards the end. So I'm very excited to check this one out this winter. Then I have an Agatha Christie book. This one is Crooked House. I am trying to read specific Agatha Christie books that I'm very interested in, but also that have moody adaptations. I mean, they may be moody. I don't know. Movie adaptations is what I'm trying to say. So I think Crooked House is one of those. I don't really know what this is about. I just know it's a standalone. I did try to read the synopsis of this and it kind of made my brain hurt. So it's about a family in a mansion and there's a murder. And that's all I know. Crooked House. Next up, this is kind of random. I got this mystery. It's called A is for Alibi by Sue Grafton. So I'm wanting to do a vlog in the future where I read some backlist mysteries or like OG mystery authors or like popular ones. So this is one that I wanted to try. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not excited about this and I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but I'm doing it for the vlog and I'm doing it for you all and hopefully it will be a good time. So I think this is a series where she goes from A to Z and it's like about this detective. No, it's about a private investigator who has a detective agency in California and she's trying to solve murders or something like that. So it sounds, I just hit myself with this book. Okay. I'm not a big detective book girly. Like, I like mysteries, I like thrillers, I like cozy mysteries. But if it's like a detective novel, it's not always my cup of tea. So I'm a little nervous, but we're doing it for the vlog. Okay. I got a stack of cozy mysteries and then we're going to be done. So we saved the best for last. I love it. Okay. So the first one is Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen. I'm reading this for a vlog this month because this is Gabby from Gabbing About Books' favorite cozy mystery, and I hope that I love it as much as she did. It is a noodle shop mystery, and it is taking place around Chinese food, and there's, I think, Death by Dumpling. I'm assuming somebody dies because of a dumpling. That's what we're going with. Next up, I have Hannah from, why was I going to say Hannah's Bookshelf or something? Her name is The Teacher's TBR. You should get it together. Okay. Hannah from The Teacher's TBR's favorite cozy mystery. So this is Up to No Good by Linda Riley. It is a grilled cheese mystery. I love me some grilled cheese. You best believe, honestly, with both of these, you best believe I'm going to get Chinese takeout when I read this book, and I'm going to get a grilled cheese. Does this have recipes in the back? It does. Am I going to make it though? Probably not. I don't know. Maybe. Oh, jam. And does this have jam on it? Okay, I don't know. Now I'm hungry. Great. I am excited to read this. Also, this is just it's a different size cozy. It's it's larger and like more square than a normal cozy mystery. And it's kind of floppy. I kind of want to pick it up right now. I am going to read it this month. Then I have more of a classic cozy mystery author. This is Lillian Jackson Braun, and this is her book, The Cat Who Could Read Backwards, the captivating series featuring mystery's most extraordinary detective team. So, I know nothing about this. It's for a vlog. Another book for a vlog, One for the Money by Janet Ivanovich. I've never read anything by this author before, but I know that especially like some middle-aged to older people in my life really like her. They say she's funny. I think this is a detective story. It is a mystery series. I don't know if I'll like it or not. I'm not super excited about it, but it's for a vlog. Guess what? This next book is for a vlog. It is Crocodile on the Sandbank by Elizabeth Peters. This is an Amelia Peabody mystery. But I am excited about this one because this just sounds so good. I'm going to tell you all about it. So look at this little cover. I'm obsessed with it. It's giving, okay, really? It says if Indiana Jones, I was going to say it's giving Indiana Jones. It says if Indiana Jones were female, a wife, and a mother who lived in Victorian times, he would be Amelia Peabody Emerson. All right, that's all you need to know. This woman's going to Egypt and she's going to solve the crime. And I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it. So this is like, is it a cozy mystery or is it a mystery? I don't really know. I've heard that cozy mysteries kind of stay within the small town environment of one place, but Amelia Peabody goes to all these different towns. So I think this is meant to be more of a mystery, but it is a cozy mystery size. Either way, this is for a vlog and I am very excited to get to this one. Next up, I got a few books that are continuations of a series that I'm absolutely loving. So I'm going to go through those really quickly. The first book is back here. It is Mayhem at the Orient Express by Kylie Logan. This is a 5-star cozy mystery for me. It is the first in the League of Literary Ladies mystery series. And the first one takes place at a Chinese restaurant. And these ladies, they all live in the same community and they cannot get along. So by court order, they are demanded to have a book club together, have book discussions, and they end up also solving murders. So the first one is based on Agatha Christie's Mayhem at the Orient Express. This is Mayhem. Mayhem on? Oh my goodness, what is Murder on the Orient Express? It's a tongue twister to try to, differentiate those. But that's what it's based on. And this book, I will say I would not read this book if you have not read or watched Murder on the Orient Express and you want to, because it does spoil the twist. So I'm very aware that it's probably going to do that in all these other books too. So I'm being mindful to kind of do my research before I read these. But anyways, Mayhem at the Orient Express was the first one that I read. So then I also have A Tale of Two Biddies, which is based on A Tale of Two Cities. I'm trying to figure out what order this is in. I think it's this one is next. The Legend of Sleepy Harlow, which is based on The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And then we have And Then There Were Nuns, which is based on And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And then we have Gone with the Twins, which is based on Gone with the Wind. And this is the entire series. And I'm very excited to continue because the first one was so fun and funny. And I love these ladies and I can't wait to follow them throughout the series. We have 3 books left. The first one is also by Kylie Logan. This is Buttonholed. And it is an antique button shop mystery series. I don't know about y'all, but when I was a kid, I loved buttons. My grandmother used to store like all these random extra buttons that she had in this jar, and I loved looking through the buttons and picking out my favorites and sorting them and all the things. So this is speaking to my inner child and my inner button lover, so I'm very excited to check this one out. Then I have Death Becomes Her by Nancy Coco, and B is spelled B-E-E. This is the first in the Oregon Honeycomb Mystery Series. I think this is going to be a good book for the fall. I'm not sure if I'll get to it, but it says, welcome to a specialty shop in the Oregon tourist town of Ocean View, where it's all things honey, from taffy to body scrub. But murder can make things sticky. Also, I damaged my book when I ripped the sticker off. That happens sometimes when I get cozy mysteries from the thrift store, and it makes me sad, but it's going to be okay. If I like it, I'll just get a new copy. But I've been itching to get to this one for some time. And the last book I'm so excited about, it is The Tale of Hilltop Farm, The Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. Are you kidding me? By Susan Wittig Albert. I knew that I needed to get this author because I wanted to read one of her books for a vlog. Did I know that she had a book based on Beatrix Potter? No. In this first of the Cottage Tales, animal lover and all-around good Samaritan Beatrix Potter, author of Peter Rabbit, if you didn't know, is ready to help solve local mysteries, and with her entourage of animal friends, she sets out to win over the human hearts of Sorry. I cannot wait to read this. I feel like I need to save it for the spring because it's just giving spring vibes, but I am so excited. And that, my friends, is going to be all of the books that I bought in the last 3 months. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot of books for 3 months. I definitely got too much. I did buy like 23, 24 books at McKay's with some store credit, so I did not purchase all these with my own money. Obviously, I was sent some. I had friends send me some too, so I did not like necessarily buy all of these. but it's still a lot of books and it is very overwhelming. But hopefully I will get to some of these soon. If you think there are any of these that I mentioned that I did not already read that you think I need to bump up on my TBR and get to sooner rather than later, let me know what those are down in the comments below. But if you have nothing else to say and you just want to leave a comment for support, you can leave a book stack emoji, because clearly we have lots of book stacks here. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.